here today. You were mentioning the Fafnir. We talk a lot about this Yamoja, but do you think that with the Leviathans in that first pick position, they're going to try to focus a little bit more on locking in a god for Shinto or beneath them? Because Osiris, Gilgamesh, Raijin, they're all picks that the Leviathans have tons of success with. And that Raijin especially, I think, is something that it probably shouldn't make it through this game.
No, I agree. Raijin is a pick that Shinto could absolutely dominate the Battlegrounds with, but if I'm going to go by history at all here, the Leviathans are a team that tend to kind of cater to Shinto a little bit, not just in P's and B's, but in the game itself. They make sure that he is completely comfortable. So I think to answer your question, you'd have to ask Shinto whether or not there's something he actually wants today in particular. If Shinto wants Hades, he's getting Hades. If Shinto wants Persephone or even Morgan Le Fay, or if they really want to push it and get him Tiamat, I'm sure the Leviathans could kind of construe bans in such a way that it does allow him to play that. But so far, the only mid laner banned out is Yanis, and, well, that's targeted towards Boronic.
And Boronic has definitely looked incredibly strong whenever he's had a chance to get the Giannis, largely because of the fact that he's had a couple of highlight clip-worthy moments, I think, with his utilization of the portals. He is definitely a Giannis player that loves trying to help his teammates in and out of sticky positions. And, well, as far as the Solar Scarabs are concerned, it's going to be all focused towards the Guardian Tree currently. And Fenrir now going to be the final ban here for the Leviathans, but Raijin still up for grabs. Gilgamesh still up for grabs. And the same could be said for Osiris here, Mifflin. However, I think that for the Leviathans, they've got to essentially decide between the potential of Solar Scarabs getting both Osiris and Gilgamesh, or if they just feel it like a Raijin is definitely worth it.
Yeah, there are 3 priority mages still available: Raijin, Morgan Le Fay, and Persephone. So I think that you're right to say that the Leviathans have a decision to make here on whether or not they want to allow both of those warriors through, and this is the best decision I think they could have made, picking at least one of them, because no way Solar Scarabs taking 3 mages, and, well, they're not really capable of doing so with only 2 picks available in that second slot. But now the Scarabs are going to get the pick of the litter. They can go any way they want with their mid-mage and still round it out with the warrior. But Gilgamesh still available. Could be the Leviathans taking both.
Possibly. It all depends on how the Leviathans feel about this Osiris when paired alongside the Gilgamesh. It does introduce a lot of heavy dive potential, that's for sure. And even with that Odin cage, I don't think that Osiris and Gilgamesh are really all that impacted by the Odin, so to say. I mean, they both have very strong escapes and even initiation points into the ring if they so desire. Winds of Shamash, I think, an excellent tool at combating a lot of that Odin pressure. And the Izanami, a really early lock-in pick here for Zapman. Now, as far as Izza is concerned, Mifflin, why do you think Zap is prioritizing her over everything else? Because we see so much Heim from him as well.
I think it's 100% got to do with lane pressure. In Smite Season 8, it feels like lane pressure is the name of the game. If you control mid-push or duo push, you could have a complete opening towards the red buff. You control the neutral camps. You can start invading these purples. And what better god to establish pressure as a singular pick than the only one in the game that is hitting every single minion with every single auto attack. Piercing autos all the time feels pretty good inside of the long, but that is leaving all the mages still available. Leviathan's likely going to be needing a couple more bans towards Shinto.
And it seems as though the Solar Scarabs, they've got a couple of strong assets, I think, for following up inside of that Odin cage. I like the Terra because she's going to be able to cover that entire area of the cage with a possible root opportunity after the fact. And Raijin, of course, has best of both worlds. Got the range from the Taiko drums, also has the up-close and personal damage from the Percussive Storm, and some other features. So as far as this top 3 out of the Leviathans is concerned, Mifflin, what do you think is the overall mindset for this type of draft?
Assuming that it's Osiris jungle, then it's likely going to be early game aggression, trying to isolate whoever is immobile on the side of the Solar Scarabs. But having not seen the support or the solo, or no, solo is locked in, the jungler. No, wait, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the mid right here. Having not seen the mid for Shinto, I think that it is a little bit harder to figure out what it is they're trying to do.
Who's to say it's not Izanami?
Well, I'm here to say that. Me, the analyst, is saying that it is pretty unlikely that it's Izanami mid. Once we start to see that mid laner locked in, whether or not it's going to be a late game hyper carry or something that can get aggressive in the early game, that's really we're going to start to figure out where the Leviathans are trying to go with this draft. Because of right now, Cerberus can act as a solo agent inside of the short lane. Osiris is going to be able to find pressure regardless. Mannequin Scepter plus Stone Cutting Sword kind of affords you that in the build itself. And then Izanami, obviously, looking to establish pressure as well. So off of just the Hunter and Jungle pick, it's an invade style composition.
Well, Persephone, it could be looked at, but it's going to be the Merlin almost immediately as a response here for the Leviathans. Really like this pick, though, because as far as frontline is concerned, Merlin almost always noted as one of the best mages, I think, for kind of just chunking through and just having so much objective damage as well. So I think the Leviathans are certainly looking strong as far as trying to utilize some of that early game pressure Mifflin and essentially just build it into more of the objective team fight gameplay. I like their counter initiation measures as well to deal with this Terra and Odin inside of the Odin cages, but I'm definitely excited to see what goes down in this duo lane because Zapman, Stuart, it almost feels like Stuart is kind of Zapman's mentee in all honesty. I think that Stuart has a lot of respect for Zapman. He's been very open about that as well, and to see him with the Heim against Izanami, well, some might regard it as a bit of a counter matchup because Heim does have that vision thanks to the way that his kit works. So Izanami not necessarily the safest in terms of looking for that aggressive assassin invis style of play off of her 3. So Zap might have to be a little bit more careful here. Heim's definitely a hard hitter.
Yeah, Heim can chase you down, but if Izanami pulls ahead whatsoever, she's got a incredibly strong stim, burst damage inside of the ultimate. It looks to me like the Leviathans are trying to send a message through this duo lane. Surket and Izanami together is a ton of kill pressure. I mean, Surket ultimate immediately to Iza ultimate, likely doing upwards of 50% of your HP bar at level 5. I think it's a hard-fought journey now.
Even more awkward than the Odin would be.
Yes.
In this instance, because her level 1 is not that great. Her level 2 is okay. In fact, her level 2's gotten a little bit better. I've actually been seeing a lot of tech that I actually found out about just recently that as she's dashing, she can collapse the walls in, gets the stun, and breaks the wall for a ton of extra damage. So level 2 is going to be crazy, but level 1 Terra is not so hot.
No, and here's the problem with Terra jungle. Obviously her monolith doesn't clear, and it's an 18-second cooldown. You've also got Screaming, if that sickle had landed, he would have probably gotten a little bit in trouble there. Your 1 is a 15-second cooldown, and your 2 is a 15-second cooldown. What you need as a jungler is the ability to clear quickly, and he just doesn't have that on that pick, and that's the problem. Terra's good, but can't clear the jungle, and that's like the #1 thing you've got to do.
And the extremely long cooldowns certainly do not help that. Damage value is going to be a little bit low. You're going to require some cooldown if you want to be
pretty worthwhile seed to secure.
I'm curious to see where Scream goes with this first item as he's gone towards the restored artifact. So I'm curious if it's going to be the Chronos Pendant to get him some cooldown to help those extremely long cooldowns that this Terra does have, or maybe he's just going to go for raw damage. Well, for the time being, Leviathans will go for a kill. They'll locate inbound in the jungle, get his beads, and take his life. Wrong you on the board first.
And that's just a good rotation over from Panatom. He's able to get there pretty quickly.
Coming. You do get a little bit of a telegraph of that circle at the base end of it, but I'd be curious as to where the rest of it goes. Ultimate from Panatom. Finds Solar Troll, but he's got the cage, and he'll take one step one way and one step the other, but still ends up getting stunned. However, he'll have more than enough health to stay alive.
Really nice juke there from Solar Troll. Knows that Yarkor is going to use his jump in order to get out of the cage. Pretends to go one way, and then the door's still open to him. He can come back through, but Yarkor cannot. Got his Chronos Pendant and going to really cut a lot of that cooldown pretty quickly. I don't mind it.
Stuart caught up with beads. Has to use them to get through the Bifrost. Ultimate from Rongu expended there, but making sure to get the beads off of Stuart will be a big pickup for him because now it's a call for Panatom to make a rotation over if need be. All that patience did finally pay off. Used his blink to get it, but he's going to take that trade every day of the week.
Zap on the run here from Stuart, who does have his ultimate, but Zap doing a good job of baiting Stuart in. Silences him, but that doesn't interrupt that channel on the Bifrost, and as a result, Panatom not going to be able to find the kill.
Man, isn't it just fun? You think you've locked down this Heimdall, all said and good, and then he just Bifrost away.
That makes a really big difference in your kill thresholds that your carries need to do. I love warrior supports who can really put pressure on the life total early.
Baronic no beads, gets away from the Cobra's Kiss from Rongu and puts a lot of damage right back at him, but Baronic is a little unhealthy himself. He uses 2 of the Tycho drums over towards the red camp, thinking that somebody had snuck over there. So he saw Zapman making his rotation through. Not sure if he got caught in a ward there. Looks like he did right at that top end of it. But one thing I'm also seeing from both these supports we haven't seen in a while, the Ward Chalice has been picked up. And maybe they're paying attention to those stats that Gormai's been putting out on Twitter. I think he said, like 72 or 78% of games where the team has the most wards they win. So maybe they're trying to keep that stat up a little bit.
Well, the wards are going to not help him here as Gold Fury has already fallen. Leviathans able to snatch that one away. Had the ward vision on it, make sure the Scarabs do not sentry. Far away from my top button, I couldn't hit it. Oh, unlucky. Look, Osiris is like the best jungler in the game right now. It is due in large part due to his clear speed. The mannequins plus stone cutting and Ichabod, they just let him clear the jungle instantly because he doesn't have to worry about his cooldowns, which are already really short, by the way. Terra doesn't have that issue.
Wrong Blink gets both with the Cobra's Kiss, looking for Baronic. He has to leap away, ambush in, one more basic assault necessary, but he gets taunted and feared away. Wrongu cannot close the gap to find Baronic. Inbound comes in with the save, but your core is here to make sure to seal the deal. Inbound cannot get out of there quick enough with his teammate, and instead it'll be the mid laner falling down.
Scream goes in, and the combo from Shinto will not land, so Scream won't get punished for it. Here comes Solar Troll immediately out of that engagement because Panatom still had his blink, had to use the ultimate to get away, but it ends up still being a big old 0 in the kill department for the Solar Scarabs after that.
They are fishing for a kill in mid. Meanwhile, Zapman has to use his Aegis and his beads to get away from Stewart, but with the Aegis and beads, he has no way to respond back to it, and Stewart picks up a nice solo kill against Zapman. A stealth in the middle of the lane just like that.
Exactly. The way he does it is that he waits until there's not a minion wave and then walks it in stealths when no one's around. With that ward there, you won't get caught.
Baronic gets caught out by Wrongu, but it's Wrongu who's in danger. Never mind, make that Baronic who's in danger. Shinto and Panatom team up inbound, trying to get him and his teammate out, but it's only going to be inbound, making it out of there as Panatom picks up Scream in the process.
Yeah, so when the Merlin's level like 17, he just doesn't care about what else is going on in the fight. If he full combos you, you're going to die, especially with this build that Shinto has. So much damage. And now Inbound has got nowhere to go.
Inbound stuck under his own tier 1 tower. That one will fall down alongside him. So that'll be 5 kills up on the board for the Leviathans and pushing that gold lead to 6,000 gold, close to 6,500. And with this Primal Fury up and available, they're looking to extend it even further.
It's not going to take them long either. The Leviathans are starting to run away really through the mid lane. And that's one of the things is that this Merlin, you let it free farm. Shinto, you're really hoping that Scream can just get a big blink ultimate and one-shot like 2 people. That's your hope, is that he's going to get a good ultimate off, and Baronic's Raiju is going to multi-proc that damage, and you're gonna win the fight that way, because that is the only path forward I see for the Scarabs.
It looks like the Scarabs are setting up a defensive around that bracer. You see it dropped right up at the top side there by the Fire Giant pit in their main little corridor, but it's immediately going to be stripped away. Now, that'll take 20 seconds off its cooldown, so Inbound will have it back up soon, but that soon needs to be sooner as the Fire Giant is already under half health. Zapman and Panatom are swinging away at it. Inbound wants to try and get in, has to use his speeds away from Hardcore's ultimate. SOT gets caught in the midst, thrown into the middle of 5 in the cage, is only going to delay his life for just a moment as Panatom leaps in to take him out.
And Inbound didn't end up going in with that ultimate like I thought he might. Baronic's ultimate not going to find anything. And that was the dream right there for the Scarabs. Scream gets a big blink ultimate, ends up disengaging.
Just letting it sit there, or is somebody going to go clear? No, they're just going to leave it up there instead. Now Leviathans go back towards the Fire Giant one more time, starting it up. Zapman and everybody else will be here. You see has highlighted a rod of Asclepius picked up by Scream to get a little bit of extra healing for it, but all that healing's not really going to do them that much to try and stop this Fire Giant as it's already gone. Now the Leviathan can start pushing up some of these towers, and the first one in their sights is going to be the tier 2 in solo. They may be able to look towards Phoenix. Stewart isn't back yet, and neither is Scream.
They're starting their channel their backs, but it's not going to take Zapman long once you get here. The good news is Scarabs don't have to worry about a wave for a little bit, so why not try our hand at it?
Hardcore walks forward, try and get a stun against SOT, but doesn't find it. Instead, now with the minion wave here, Zapman will start throwing basics at the Phoenix. Takes it down to just a little around half health before he has to walk away as he's starting to take a little bit of damage from the rest of the team now. SOT sitting at half health. That Merlin is starting to hit hard in that ice stance.
Yeah, been hitting hard for a little bit. Is Wrongu goes in, finds Stewart.
And into the backline, ultimate out of Scream, hits quite a few players. Shinto has to use the Aegis to walk away, and now it's just Panatom left in the middle of everybody. Inbound channels the ultimate, but doesn't get anything further from it. The walls collapse in for Scream, but a nice Cobra's Kiss from Wrongu will push him away, and now the rest of the Leviathans hit back out.
That was such a smart play from Zap. He turns around and throws a couple of autos in order to bounce the Odysseus bow towards Solo Troll so that SOT can't blink cage. That was such a smart play there from Zap to keep SOT in combat or you take damage. And if you Aegis, then you don't take damage and the stones don't fall off. So it doesn't happen until it's already guaranteed to be procced.
Kind of that catch-22 situation. I need to take the damage, but I don't want to take the damage, but I have to, but I can't. So Baronic used his own ultimate, try and push everybody away, but that's trying to push them away from a mid lane tier 2, which they don't care about. They're going for the left side tier 2 tower. Inbound in the middle of 3. Shinto puts a lot of damage against him, gets the arcane, gets the beads away from Bobby as well, as he has to dash away back to the rest of his team. He'll heal up a little bit. SOT blinks in, gets a cage on 3.
Good job, and a big jump as well, but the rest of the team just a little bit too far behind. No one else can get close, but Rongyu, he's not getting close. He's going in.
He's going to dive and find Baronic and throw him right into the dark portal. Zapman gets the credit for the first kill. Stewart takes half of his health from the spit from Hardcore, and Solar Troll is trying to play the front line for it. Dash from Scream, the wall breaks and takes down Rongyu, but the left side Phoenix is already gone. Scream under half. SOT is trying to zone them away, but it's too little too late for Stewart. He falls down to Panatom, and SOT may just get burned down by Shinto. He's going to run away, get out of the Dragonfire, but the Titan is not the primary target for the Leviathans yet.
Kills are the call, but Zapman falls to Scream, and now it looks like the Leviathans might not get their opportunity to end. Still looking for this Terra, and finally Shinto finds him.
That fire is just a little bit too much for him. Inbound steps inside the Dragonfire, and Panatom picks him up. It's just SOT alive, but with only Shinto as the primary damage dealer and Panatom both being so low, they're not going to be able to push in towards this Titan because Baronic is up in 5. So they get the left side tier 2, they get the left side Phoenix, but they end up losing on quite a bit as well.
For Scream to clear and kind of keep that rotation going. That's the right idea here for the Scarabs. It looks like the Leviathans are willingly waiting until this Fire Giant gets enhanced. They haven't started pulling it quite yet, but this is the right idea, I think. Go back, pull it now, get it to 30 minutes, and then kill it right as it gets enhanced.
SOT gets caught by Hardcore and Panatom trying to walk in towards
Bounds up.
Fire Giant. It's down to half. Inbound looking for a target. Dunks only onto Rongyu, who's immediately going to respond with his own ultimate. SOT drops the cage. Zapman is in danger, being chased by SOT. No one's there to zone for him. Rongyu has to go through, but the Bird Bomb from SOT is enough to take him down. It's Baronic in danger, and Inbound comes back to his rescue.
Rongyu with a great taunt finds Baronic, and now Panatom dealing with Scream, but Shinto trying to win his one up against SOT.
SOT has to leap away because now it's 4 versus 2. Inbound dashes give SOT a little bit of extra healing, but now they're staring down the barrel of the shotgun of the Leviathans, and meanwhile the fire minions all pushing up the left-hand side. Inbound is just being kept busy by Rongyu. SOT is trying to keep the rest of them occupied.
Taunt doesn't land there from Rongyu, so Inbound will end up falling to Shinto eventually. But as you mentioned, J-Mac, left side fire minions still pushing. Still 18 seconds for the next respawn. The Leviathans don't have their hunter, so it will be harder for them to go for EFG. They decide that they're going to push this mid lane tier 2 instead, wait for Zapman to come back up, and then head back.
Throws an ability out against those Scarabs, and it's only going to get worse for them. Now, he is full slot, so he can't really... Theoretically, he can get more power if he gets this Enhanced Fire Giant, gets an Elixir online, but he's hit his build's top state for the moment. Fire Giant started up one more time. Zapman and Rongyu, the only ones in the pit to take the damage for it, and they're shredding through it pretty quickly, down to half health. SOT has to stun Panatom, walk away. Rongyu goes in for the engagement.
Oh, Yarkor jumps into everyone, but another good ultimate from Scream. Solar Troll cages too, but Stewart's already gone.
Stewart is gone. Inbound and Baronic are both so low. Hardcore is looking for the zone due to try and keep them down and keep SOT busy. While Hardcore finds one, Shinto takes down SOT, and it's 3v1. Hardcore is taunting in front of them, saying, yeah, this is all that I need. I am the front line for this team. I am the carry for this team. Triple kill for Hardcore. Puts 4 in the dirt, and the Solar Scarabs will fall game 1.
Look, I mean, the minions were going to do the job anyways. They didn't even need to win the team fight this hard. But of course they're going to. Leviathans nearly clean sweep the Solar Scarabs there in that final team fight. And that's just the CC and control that they had. It was a decent start of that fight for the Scarabs, but still ultimately not enough in order to make the fight go
He
their way.
needs you to. I do want to give, Mifflin a little bit of a breather room here to try and recover from that massive L he just took against me. And, Mifflin, a fair point to what you just said as well. A bit of an L as far as the gold is concerned here for the Solar Scarabs.
Titan,
this
and the slash lines,
this one got away from them pretty quickly. Leviathans definitely making fast work of everything that was available on the map.
Yeah, I mean, they, in this particular match, were the better team, and they had the better draft. And I'm not going to say it's because Terra was in the jungle, but I'm not going to say it wasn't because Terra was in the jungle. Can it work out, Taco? I think it can in your ranked games, absolutely. In competitive play, I'm still a hater, all right? And I've been divergent with the pros a couple of times in the past. In particular, Jean Quidra in general is not a god that I think is incredibly strong and has a 5% win rate. Terra Jungle now at 0% win rate. And I'm gonna go ahead and keep saying it shouldn't happen.
That's fair, Mifflin. I mean, there are those of us who can break down, analyze, and assess what is to come, and then there are those of us who have a reluctancy towards being able to look further with the Smite Pro Play visions, and I'll let you decide which of those categories you fall into for the time being, Mifflin. But as for right now, Solar Scarabs, they are looking for a bounce back after that Game 1 defeat, and again, relatively tough stuff there, especially when you look at what went down in that mid lane. 40,000 damage from Shinto. My man's was free casting as much as you could possibly want. The drafts are definitely open, I would say, because Leviathans are going to be in that first pick position. Solar Scarabs feeling as though they're better off taking the response section for the time being, but I actually think I would like to see the Solar Scarabs prioritize Circuit a little bit earlier on, and Zapman, he's just letting the fro go.
Yeah, this is a good look for Zapman. No longer a samurai and now I almost said clown, but he's clowning the enemies, so I can't even say it here. Zap just looking good and looking like he's having a fun time. Yeah, I think that bans largely are going to look the same here. The Leviathans seem to have really rooted out what they're worried about from the Scarabs in particular. It's this Yanis ban towards Baronic. He is not allowed to play that pick anymore. Artemis, the exact same as Game 1 as well, where we're starting to see the adjustments, I think, is going to be in the actual picks themselves.
Well, and that's the thing, is that Leviathans, like you just mentioned, they're going to look for a total repeat of Game 1. They're not really the ones in a position to have to feel as though they need to switch their picks and bans here, given that they had so much success in Game 1. But Solar Scarabs, they know for a fact that if the option is left open, Leviathans will almost always look to take that Osiris. Granted, Gilgamesh could be another strong contender here for that first pick position, but I think the point that I'm really trying to get at is Rongyu got 5th pick Circuit in this Leviathans draft, and then Solar Scarabs took a Horus into that. So I don't think that it was overconfidence by any means from Inbound on his end. I think he truly believed that the interruption from the Horus would be strong, especially against the Circuit whenever she's trying to look for some further dive and commit potential. But with Osiris being banned, Solar Scarabs, they had Tiamat in the game before. They're going to let Tiamat go through this time around, and I was talking about that Circuit as a possible pickup here for the Solar Scarabs. Not sure how ideal that would be, though, against the likes of a Tiamat.
No, not many things feel so great into the mother of monsters, Tiamat. And Tiamat is a god that is just so plug and play at this point. I mean, she can fit into any singular composition. You don't necessarily have to draft around her. It's not like Morgan Le Fay being so immobile. You kind of want to draft some peel. Instead, it's Tiamat does a ton of damage. She does it from far away. She spawns her own peel. She can literally spawn a tank or a tornado to run at you and then leap away and become tanky herself. Incredibly strong. And the Leviathans are a team that have plenty of experience playing the meta pick, so I'm sure they're very happy able to find that one in the first slot.
Well, despite how heavily Baronic was being harassed in game number 1, he seems content to try and run it back with the Raijin in game 2, and I still like this look for the Solar Scarabs, Mifflin. They've got 2 incredibly aggressive, strong, early to mid-game gods, and Cerberus, I think, fairly flexible. As for whether it's going to be in solo or support, to be determined. I think that really just depends on whether or not the Leviathans are going to be willing to solidify some of their frontline pieces. And what do you think is the best way for the Leviathans to essentially complement this Tiamat pick?
Anything that can utilize that mid-game. Mid-game is really where Tiamat starts to hit her stride. She's not necessarily an early game god, or you could draft early game and just try and make it a bridge for her into the late game. Both gods being hovered right now, Ymir and Gilgamesh, do operate to generate pressure on their own. I think I would have preferred to see the Ymir just because I'm such a huge Rongyu stan, but hard to argue against Gilgamesh in of itself. Does have okay flex potential if we're talking about SEC. Could go support, could go jungle if we're talking SBL. Likely going jungle unless you're fine. Okay, you might see it in like soul lane exactly one time so far this year. So Gilgamesh likely is going to be for Panitom on the side of the Leviathans. And already, I'm a huge fan of this draft. And it's not just because of the Tiamat, but I would say it's like 95% because of the Tiamat.
Yeah, it's hard to not be a fan of Tiamat-based drafts just because we've seen the level of success that so many teams have been able to have whenever this god pick gets let through. And as far as the Solar Scarabs are concerned, they've got their own work cut out for them here in Mifflin, because Rom, Gilgamesh, first thing I'm thinking of is this Raijin. When he goes into those Taiko drums, he is not the most mobile god of all time, and Astral Barrage, Winds of Samash, I think both excellent dive utility features that Leviathans can utilize here to essentially take Baronic out before he's ever even really able to get his damage off.
But Baronic does have the benefit of playing a early game aggressive mage. The second you get that Thunderclap available to yourself, can use it to close gap onto this Tiamat at level 2, and with the help of a jungler, hopefully be able to put her down before she hits her stride. Izanami is a third lock-in overall for the Solar Scarabs, taking a shot towards the Leviathans here. Maybe a young Stewart says, I can do it too. Maybe he can, but it's a little bit more aggressive, which is exactly what I wanted to see from the Scarabs.
Almost wonder if Rongyu might decide to take the Horus this go around, just because I like the idea of a knock-up as far as interrupting the Izanami and the Raijin whenever they're trying to channel their damage. I also like it in the sense that the multi-use of dashes and the ultimate in general would give the Leviathans a pretty strong edge in terms of just looking for that overall collapse, because that is the main thing that I'm kind of getting from this draft out of the Leviathans. They just want an all-in kind of collapse sort of composition, and they've got that so far with these top 3. Definitely still need a little bit more as far as crowd control is concerned, especially when you're trying to deal with the likes of Hercules, which I'm assuming might be headed for Bobby.
Yeah, that is, I mean, you said that Leviathans have a run-it-down draft. I think the Solar Scarabs picked themselves up one as well. Raijin, early game aggression. Cerberus can do it all on his own inside of the soul lane, and Hercules and Izanami together pull into driving strike immediately into a slow or a silence if you survive the slow and a couple auto attacks from Izanami, even if she is, I'm not even convinced that she's going to be forced to use her ultimate with all the damage that's coming from this duo lane already. Decent disruption in the backline as well. The Solar Scarabs not so worried about their CC, and to speak to your point, the Leviathans do have a little bit of CC inside of their draft. They've got slows and knockups. They've got a couple of stuns as well, but all very hard to apply and all very single target from just Gilgamesh and Tiamat. Horus, though, a little bit more single target CC, but definitely easier to apply and definitely something they're used to playing around.
And this RDO, I think, just to try and introduce a little bit more of not the all-in on the single target CC. I think that RDO's cripple field is going to be incredibly impactful, especially against the likes of that Raijin, Izanami, and Hercules. Could be difficult for them to escape from that cripple field, and with the Eagles rally now being the final component here for the Solar Scarabs, there is a lot of dependency on this physical.
Well at the top of the charts for it. We'll see if they're able to pull it back here in Game 2.
Yeah, pretty crazy that Shinto kind of dominates you Game 1, and then you go, yeah, let's give him Tiamat
Yeah,
Game 2.
don't know about that.
Let's see what happens there. Surprised to see him get his hands on that pick, but good little warm-up for him before Phase 2 playoffs on that type of selection. As for the Bologna Jungle, it offends me a lot less than the Terra Jungle, for sure. I think Bologna Jungle is absolutely okay. That's as far as I'm going.
Dives on Stewart. Inbound has to use the pluck in order to pull Rongyu away from Stewart. The Banana Man Bobby coming through with the nice Master of Peel available for himself to get there. I had to say it one time. I
don't understand.
Banana Bobby, because he's got good peel. Like a banana. You peel a banana.
Okay, I still don't understand where the banana is in all of this,
Because
J-Mac.
you peel a banana.
Right.
It's good peel.
Okay. So that makes him a banana. But
Yeah,
he's the one.
because he's got good peel.
But if that were to work, he would need to be doing the peeling.
Okay, I was told that you can blame Nathan in Inbound's chat for that one. He told me to say it, so I got it out there for him. Now we don't ever have to worry about it
Yeah, all right,
again,
Nathan,
though.
here's the deal. Unlucky for you that I was on this cast.
Yeah, it really is
because
unfortunate,
Everyone
man.
else would have let that slide. A fight started with that blink. And remember, Rongyu played this pick a ton at the beginning of Season 7. This was really the combo that he and Netroid were running to kick off the season, so you know he's comfortable.
Double knockup and a double slow coming through. Stewart sitting inside the minion wave, and Zatman has to roll away because he's taking a little bit too much damage from the minions. Doesn't have the same luxury that Stewart has of having all of his basics be able to be boomeranged, and Panatom will dive the Tier 1 tower for SOT at only level 4. First blood goes the way of the Leviathans, and they may be able to get more in this duo.
This inbound is so low, and no blink for him either, but no blink for Rongyu for the next 39, so seems like inbound won't get punished, but this should open up a pretty easy purple buff invade, knowing that he has to go back to base. Good start for the Leviathans across the map. They make plays over here, and now Stewart
Gets caught out. The stun and the cripple are good to hold him, but the stealth is enough to sneak him away from Zapman and Rongyu. So Stewart makes it out, still holds on to his beads through all of that. If he dies with beads up, that is an extremely greedy play by Stewart, but he does make it out.
Boronic gonna dash in on his rotation, but a little bit too late in order to secure the purple.
Free
So
cast.
no, but you can't necessarily give Panatom Osiris either. You know, there are a lot of picks that feel pretty good, but Boronic in trouble. Didn't even get his leap off, even with the purification.
Consumes enough damage to knock up his good, and the winds of Shamash from Panatom, and Shinto will let Panatom try and seal the deal, but Panatom
No
can't
way.
close the gap. The slow, not enough for him to close that gap, so Scream will just barely make it out with his life.
That is the most psycho play I've ever seen in my life. Did you see Scream's health bar? And he had ult, and he had mana, and he didn't use it. That is craziness. And he lived. He got paid on that play.
Same thing happened to Stewart earlier.
That
He
is
had his-
crazy.
Same thing happened with Stewart under the tower, right in front of his tower line. He had the purification beads, got hit by stun, decided, I don't need to use this, got hit by knockup, said, man, I still don't need to use this, got hit by the cripple, and said, man, I don't think I need to use these beads still. Maybe he'll use them now as Rongyu dashes aggressively against him. Up in the sky is Zapman looking and waiting for him to pop out of stealth. Needs all 3 shots to take him down. Instead, he'll only get 2, and Rongyu will take the final basic to drop him.
Yeah, these two already playing their aggressive duo lane very well. You could see Rongyu having fun for the rest of the SPL if Rongyu and Zap can become one of those premier duo lanes.
Inbound will get beats from Zapman with a blink driving strike.
My God,
to
he even
push him
uses
away.
his relics.
Look at that. He used it.
He does it all.
He got a nice relic. He doesn't get the kill. He gets the assist, but he gets 2 out of the 3 snipes, and Rongyu, well, he'll take the basic for it to get it. Rongyu says, you know what? Supports need the kill sometimes.
Yeah, he needs it. And on Horus, he actually puts it to fairly decent use because you can end up putting yourself in a position where, like I was talking about in the last game, you just deal more damage than they're ready for. And look at this. Rongyu's on the way, but so is Scream.
Zapman gonna roll away to try and get safety. Rongyu gonna zone for him. The boulder misses. The Eagles rally just a little off the mark, but not the bludgeon as Scream able to rotate over and get a nice kill to put Zapman down.
Needed to, because he was going to start to run away with this lane if he was able to reset.
That's game 1 of this set. So Hardcore back onto the RDO, but it's kind of that tale. It's like, yeah, you did really good. You did well with RDO, but you kind of played RDO. Scream's kind of getting played here in the mid lanes. Winds of Shamash drop through. Panatom picks up the kill, and Boronic unable to save his jungler. Shinto in danger, has to use his purification beads. Panatom leaps in, drop kick against Boronic, and a dash in from the support. Rongyu gives a little bit of extra help to Shinto to let him stay alive, and manages to turn around and get a second kill.
Never has it been more of a protector's surge than in that moment for Rongyu. That heal and prots coming through absolutely massive, keeps Shinto up and alive, and keeps him in a great position to carry this game.
Died at all during that last game either?
Nope.
So it still remains deathless up and towards the second game, and sitting at 1-0-2 on the Tiamat. Rod up to Hootie, a first item again for Shinto, getting that big power early on. Rongyu goes aggressive, trying to take away the red buff, and looks like he may have been successful in doing so. He'll dash away with his life and make sure to keep Shinto at bay as well.
And that's just a frustration moment because Boronic's already so far behind of Shinto, and now he loses his red buff. Rongyu's going to go pick it up to add some insult to injury and continue to put some pressure onto Boronic and Stewart on these dives.
Scream looking to dive Shinto, and Solar Troll is there as well. The Ghastly Breath maybe just be a little bit too much damage, and the boulder to seal the deal. Inbound gets credit for the kill, but they may lose Boronic in the process as Panatom rotates in. Drop kick, Scream against the wall. Double kill for Panatom.
Solar Troll in trouble. Here comes Zapman on the rotation, putting snipes towards Bobby. Doesn't quite get him, but Rongyu still got Blink.
Third one is ready for Panatom. He's trying to get those kills and will be successful in getting so. Triple kill for Panatom, now diving towards the tier 2 tower, but not going to be that greedy to go too far in. Instead, Hardcore will dash through, but it puts a trip on the board for Panatom.
Look, you get Shinto, great. You know, we set him behind, we're feeling good, we're taking down the Tiamat, and then, we lose 3 all to Panatom, who is now 6-0, by the way, in this game. Quietly, a 6-0-1 scoreline for the Gilgamesh after that last triple kill. And Boronic continues, even in these plays where they get the kill, he dies, and as a result, will not start to catch up.
SOT walks forward. Rongyu caught him, and Shinto is the one to take him down. Just greedy play by the solo laner, walking up so low in health, thinking, surely nobody's going to be here to punish me for this one. And well, there was Rongyu waiting around the corner, hits him with a nice fracture, stuns him, and then gets the knockup and set up for the kill.
Save his life. So at least you get something there that he doesn't have to expend too much, though I guess he did have to beat. So, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. Never mind. It was rough for Stuart there, even though he lived with a nice play.
Scream gonna stop this Greater Scorpion from being taken. Instead, he might look to take it himself and will be successful in doing so. Zapman a little late for the snipes to try and steal that one back away from what was stolen from them initially forward. Inbound and Scream running forward, trying to find Rongyu. Even SOT has rotated all the way to this side of the map yet again, and is met by Hardcore, who blinks in, gets a double stun on Scream and on SOT. He's going to get caught up in the midst, has to use his Stingent Torment to try and get away and try and save his life, but it's not going to be enough. Shinto picks him up.
And now Inbound is left in no man's land. He's going to fall. It's Hardcore who ends up getting that credit, and the Solar Scarabs just don't have an answer to this Leviathan's roster. The XP differential is just too much. Panatom ahead of Scream, and of course Shinto so far ahead of Baronic.
Leviathan say, hey, thanks for taking that Scorpion for us. We'll go ahead and grab the prize afterward. Gold Fury goes their way to further extend this already monumental lead they've built in just not even 12 minutes. Over 5,000 gold separating them, and the experience is looking fairly similar. 2 levels in the solo lane, 3 levels still with mid, and a level in jungle.
Rongyu's already used his mobility, but jukes 3 out of 4 Taiko drum shots, and they could have all landed. He could have had 7 Taiko drum shots, and I don't think they ever kill Rongyu from that position. Just too far ahead on this space.
Panatom drop kicks to secure the red buff, taking that one away from the Solar Scarab. So another red buff invade goes the way of the Leviathans, but not to no avail. They do manage to strip away beads from Panatom. They get a
3. But Shinto's level 15 is mind-boggling this early on. It feels bad to have to compare Baronic's farm level to Shinto's and not just the rest of the squad.
Zapman catches Stewart on a war, but he doesn't know that Inbound is waiting behind him. Blink through with the driving strike, but Zapman doesn't have his beads available to him and won't have time to get up in the ultimate. At this point, it's just a turn and run as fast as he can, but Stewart will catch him and get another kill.
Nice little play out of the dual lane there for the Scarabs. Finds the lone member that they can punish, but SOT getting punished on the opposite end of the map, but a good blink might have saved his life.
Rongyu's got a blink in return. Fracture is good to stun him in place, and Harkorda's here has an extra stun of his own. Throws out the cripple field to make sure he can't run too far. Shinto spins in the ground and stance ultimate, try and get some damage, but SOT is still living until Panatom rotates over and drops the winds. He managed to make it out. Eagles rally from Scream, and Baronic shuts down Panatom, who walked just too far.
Exactly what the doctor ordered for the Scarabs. So now they kill Zapman. Baronic gets the shutdown on the Panatom. That is massive for the Scarabs. And look, they're still down 4,000 at 14 minutes. It's still a huge lead for the Leviathans, but they're starting to make it happen. Right now the Leviathan's going to group up on this right-hand side. Just keep the pace of this game high. No reason to let the Scarabs just farm up like I was just talking about they needed to do. Keep the pressure on them and make sure that you're going to keep your eyes on those objectives. The Scarabs know they need to defend, but know that they likely can't if they're on time. Zapman once again ends up getting caught. Good ward coverage there from the Scarabs. Look at the sentries they've placed on the entrance, making sure that Zap won't have any sort of safety. And they're giving themselves a win condition, putting their eggs in the Stewart basket.
Looking to crash from the skies is Rongyu, cuts off the path away from Baronic, dashes in, gets the Taiko drums immediately. Panatom taking a lot of damage from it. Boulder from Bobby is going to be good for some damage, but not enough to save Baronic as he falls down. Panatom runs back to the winds, but gets caught by SOT's ultimate. And now maybe Shinto, the one in danger. Scream picks him up. It's just Rongyu and Hardcore here in the mid lane to defend against 4.
Oh, nice blink pickup there from Inbound to Hardcore. Toss back into the teeth of the team, but I don't know if they have the damage to take him down.
He's got the cripple field to get away, and Rongyu will immediately dash over towards him to give him a little bit of extra sustain. Eagles rally, gets the beads instantly. The healing is good, but not quite good enough. Stewart has enough basic attack damage to drop him down. Now Rongyu is caught inside his own tier 1 tower, sitting at half health and just as unhealthy as the tower for himself, but Zapman rotates back over and gives Rongyu a target to go back.
Snipes need to land all 3 if he wants to kill, and he did hit all 3, but it still was not quite enough. Shout out to Tower Shield in the build there for Scream. That little bit of physical protection might have made the
Coming
difference.
off the back end of these fights, and he's been the primary target for the Leviathans in not just game 2 here, but also in game number 1. They put so much focus in keeping Baronic down from this Raijin. A Primal Fury started up on one side, and Leviathans, they'll respond instantly by going towards Fire Giant. Scream, the only one over here to try and spot this one out. He'll go through. Primal Fury is done, but how will the Fire Giant fight go? Scream gets caught out instantly, but Zapman got caught on the ring. SOT picks up the kill. 4 gets 3 with Sinjin Torment, throws him right into the clutches of Baronic, who's unable to find Rongu, has to dash in aggressively to try and find it.
He will not. Solar Patrol still on the chase as well, but Rongyu's out, but Shinto has gone back in order to make it happen. Double kill for Panatom, but Shinto will fall.
Panatom leaps in, but he's not able to get Stewart. Instead, it's going to be Hardcore who picks him up, and now it's just SOT and Inbound. It's only the tanks alive for both teams to try and box that against each other.
Ooh.
Double plug, double wall, and double boulder, enough to take down Rongu with one basic, and it's only going to be Hardcore left alive. SOT blocks him inside the tower and picks him up.
What a play from Yarkor, and Inbound knows he doesn't have the damage from here. What a barn burner that was there, J-Mac. I mean, a great play from Inbound. The double pickup push boulder combo was absolutely phenomenal.
I'm curious how much damage that Fire Giant put in against him just in that one little interaction, but Scream with a great play with that Eagles rally, able to help turn that fight in their favor. Now it's only 2,000 gold that separate them. Eagles rally from Scream as he dunks it down towards the Fire Giant. It started up. Hardcore tries to steal away with the Bear Claw, but unsuccessful. Solar Scarabs get the Fire Giant. They lose a couple of ultimates in the process
Scarabs,
for it.
as the quote-unquote winning team right now. Ball's in their court. Matter of finishing it out now.
Inbound, the only one inside the jungle. The rest of his team over towards the blue buff, and looks like an ultimate expended from Rongu, trying to close the gap here. SOT is going to try and stop Panatom and Rongu from getting there, but they'll make it back in. Crashes down on Baronic, and he's stuck inside the cripple field. Can't get away from Hardcore, and the Winds of Shamash will keep him locked inside. Panatom with a quick pick.
Man, tough set for Baronic so far. 1-6 now. Second game in a row on the Raijin, and neither game has really had that impact that we're used to seeing from him. His last few games for Baronic have actually been very good, despite the struggles for the Scarabs. His score lines have all looked very good. I think he's played really good Smite. This has been his first tough set in a little while, and I'm sure that doesn't make him feel a whole lot better, but it has not been the norm to have games like this.
Zapman backsteps the paralyzing spit. Inbound caught inside the cripple field, gets a decent heal for himself, but not going to be enough to take him down. Zapman doesn't have ult, so he can't try and go for the snipes to take him out. Instead, the Leviathans will set their sights towards this right side tier 2 tower. They don't have the Fire Giant buff, so it's going to take them a little bit longer to do so, especially since Zapman's not hitting particularly hard.
Shinto jumps in after hitting Stewart with that long range damage, but not enough because Stewart still had his dash. Tier 2 taking a while, but it's not going to be too easy to defend it. Eventually it will fall.
SOT takes quite a bit of damage. Scream blinks in, trying to find Shinto, and Hardcore up, down, in place with the Eagles rally, but Shinto is undeterred. He'll fire right back at him, and Hardcore takes him down. Now looking for more as Baronic is forced to use the Taiko drums instantly. Hardcore is more than happy taking those up because the snaps from Zapman are there. Shinto gets the credit for the kill, and Stewart on the run. Used the stealth, but Panatom catches him with the winds.
And a good stun coming from Wrong. You find Solar Patrol. The chase is on for these frontliners. SOT, big ult, but knows he doesn't have the damage on backup in order to make them fall, and it's a double for Zap.
Inbound is the last one standing, but not for much longer as Panatom takes him down. A right side tower was taken in the process, and now may be the Phoenix, and very well into the game. Leviathans, it looked a little dicey there after that last little fight, but they punch back hard and take out the Scarabs 2-0.
Yeah, no wave, but I don't think it's going to matter too much because they've got healthy enough front line in order to make it happen, plus that Bracer of Radiance. That is a much closer 22-23 minute game than we're used to seeing. Most of the time, those are a little bit more one-sided, and it was one-sided early.
Much got to do. I don't want to say whatever they wanted, because we definitely saw moments of response like you mentioned, Mifflin, but beneath them definitely had a fantastic set today.
He really did, man. And Gilgamesh Jungle has been popping off just for a lot of these teams recently. Captain Twig recently has a very good performance with this pick. Panatom gets involved very early on in this game and stays involved for the entirety of the game afterward as well. It just feels like that this is a god right now that a lot of these junglers are really starting to find works out in Season 8, especially considering how that first ability works for Gilgamesh, just a little bit of additional HP, you're dealing more damage. Generally, we're starting to see that bruiser build kind of be the focus for some of these junglers as well, so it makes sense to me. This guy you're seeing on screen right now, though, Yarkor, is one that I wanted to talk about because this RDO solo looks really strong. He's able to tank up towers in the early, utilize that healing to make sure these dives are working out, and the initiation was kind of nuts too.
And do you think that we could maybe expect to start seeing a little bit more of that RDO solo or just RDO in general rise to the top here? Ever since her buff, it seems as though a lot of people are definitely preferring her right now.
Yeah, I know Aurora's liking this pick a lot. I think Yarkor very likely to keep playing it as well. I'm not sure that we're going to see a ton of people trying to adapt it. It is kind of a unique playstyle.
Largely, that's that the 2-0 victory was for the Atlantis Leviathans to really make sure that they can solidify that third place.
Yeah, I think the Leviathans are solidified now. There's no one that can really challenge them for third. They don't really have much leeway to move around either, and well, the Solar Scarabs were kind of locked where they were at as well coming into this set. So as it stands right now, I think it's really pretty clear how the stand is going to pan out going into playoffs.